You're really going to love this stitch. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Stitch Sessions. Today we have a beautiful stitch tutorial for you. And I've got a little swatch done up here in a very bulky yarn because I thought it would really show off the stitch definition very nicely. This is the half double crochet slip stitch. It's the same on the back as it is on the front, and it creates this really pretty, kind of like a little herringbone ribbed effect. And it is so easy, so easy. Now, some people might call this the yarn over slip stitch, but I have known this for years as the half double crochet slip stitch. It's a 1 row repeat. It's nice and cushy. It creates a thick fabric. So great for some cold weather projects or anything that you would like to make with it. So without further ado, let's get you going on learning this stitch. Okay, so for today's tutorial, I'm going to be using a slightly lighter yarn. As I said before, I used a bulky number 5 yarn for this swatch here, and I had used a 9mm hook. So remember that the heavier weight yarn and the larger the hook, the larger your project is going to be. So just so that we can see a little bit more of the definition, this is a lightweight number 3, and I don't have the label anymore, but I think it's Premier's bamboo yarn. I think it's Premier. I'll find a graphic and put it up here on the screen for you in case you would like to use this yarn for a project. So the hook size I'm going to be using for this is a 5mm hook, which is also known as an H or a size 8. Now, this yarn would most likely recommend you use a 4mm, even a 3.5, but like I said, today I want to really show you the stitch definition, so I wanted my stitches to sit a little bit looser. And as always, for any project, make sure that you have a pair of scissors on hand and a yarn needle to weave in any ends at the end. We're going to begin by placing a slip knot on our hook. Just like that. And so for this swatch, I'm just going to chain up 16. And you can chain up whatever number that you desire. There is no multiple count for this stitch. 13, 14, 15, and 16. So as you can see, the stitches are sitting nice and loose, which is what I was hoping for, so you guys can see everything nice and clearly. Okay, so for row 1, I am just going to create an establishing row. Some people would get into the stitch right away, but I just want to create a nice solid base row to get us started on the stitch. So this is not part of the stitch, just in case you're wondering. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to find the second chain from the hook. Remember, we never count the loop that's on the hook. So I would count 1 and 2, and I'm just going to single crochet. Now, in this particular instance, I'm going to turn over my chain, and I'm going to work into these back bumps here. See how they have these little bumps? So I'm just going to help it along, and I'm going to single crochet 1 into each stitch, or the back bump of each stitch, all the way to the end of my row. Okay, so I've completed my foundation row, and it looks something like this. So my bottom edge looks nice and finished. So that's why sometimes in certain projects, you'll see me go into the back bumps there. All right, let's get started on our stitch. So we would chain 1 and turn our work. And we're going to work right away into that very first stitch. So we're going to yarn over like we're going to do a half double crochet stitch. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into that first stitch. You're going to pull up a loop, and normally, so we have 3 loops on the hook. Normally we would yarn over again and pull through. But in this case, the loop that we pulled through, that's what we're going to slip through the remaining 2 stitches. And that's what creates our half double crochet slip stitch. So let's do it again to be a little bit clearer. So I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to insert my hook into the stitch, and this loop that I'm pulling up, I'm going to pull it through and slip it through the other 2 stitches. Okay. And we'll do it again. So we're going to yarn over, insert into the next stitch, pull that loop through and then through the other 2 stitches. And again, yarn over, insert, and pull through the other 2. So it's going to create a little bit more of a denser stitch, which is really nice if you are creating things for like hats and scarves and things like that. And that's what it looks like on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this row, and then I'll take you through how to continue on into subsequent rows, which I just showed you, but I'm going to show you again, especially for those of you that are a little newer. So go ahead and do that, and I will meet up with you at the end of this row. Okay, now I am coming up to the end of this row, and I just wanted to show you that you may wonder, where the heck do I put my stitch? But it's quite obvious the row's not finished. So the first thing you always want to do is count back your stitches. So I know I should have 15 stitches now in each row. So if I have 14, then I definitely know I have to place 1 more stitch in here. So this is where we had that chain 1 that we turned, which is right there. And I always like to make sure that I catch both loops. At least, whoops, I forgot to yarn over. And that's why the first few rows are always a little tricky to see everything. Okay, so I pulled that through, and then I continue to pull through. Whoops. So in case you missed it at the beginning, I had 16 chains, but because we worked into the second chain from the hook, we now will always have 15 stitches. So that is the end of the first official row of half double crochet slip stitches. So let's go on to the next row if you were to continue to build your work. So basically you're always going to chain 1, and then you're going to turn your work, and you've got this beautiful little ridged effect like here, and that's your very first stitch right here. So we're going to yarn over and go right back into that very first stitch and create our half double crochet slip stitch. So our first stitch is complete, and we're going to work into every single stitch the same way. Now, the thing with this stitch is that there are V's here at the top, and then it creates these side V's here. So we just want to make sure that we are working into this stitch here. You can work into different parts of the stitch, of course, but that will create different effects. But if we're just working this as a straight half double crochet slip stitch, we want to work into that V right there. So yarn over into that stitch and slip through both. And the great thing about this is it makes it nice and easy to see where to place your hook. Place that through, yarn over, insert, and through. It's really nice and easy. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue to work up several more rows just so you can see how it looks in a lighter weight yarn. Okay, so go ahead and do that. So I will meet back up with you here in just a little bit to show you what it looks like. Okay guys, so I have worked up 9 rows here, just so you can see the effect. Doesn't it look pretty when you turn it this way? It would make for really great ribbing on a hat or cuffs, all kinds of things. So here it is in the bulky yarn, so you can really see the difference there, right? And this is in the lightweight number 3 yarn. So I hope you found it super easy, and maybe it gives you a little bit of variety of something you can do with your basic stitches. And actually, let us know what you're going to make with this stitch. Leave it for me in the comment box down below. It always helps us out, helps our crochet friends out for some added crochet inspiration. Now, before we go, I am going to show you a little bonus technique here. With the same stitch, I want to show you what it would look like if you were to work into the back loops only. So I'm just going to chain one and turn my work. So remember how I said it creates two sets of V's? So this is the actual stitch, the V's along the top. And then we've got these V's created along the side. So I'm going to work this same stitch, but this time I'm only going to go into the back loops only. So I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to insert in through the top using that back loop only. And I'm going to just create that same slip stitch effect. So I'm going to work a few of these, and that way it'll give you an idea of how you can play with this half double crochet even more. So a lot of times we think we got to go really extra fancy with our stitches, but you can do a lot with some of your basic stitches. So I'm working into these back loops. So it's the loop that's furthest away from me. I'm just going to work a few here so you can see what the effect is. Okay, whoops. So now you can see what's happened is it's pushed these side V's more prominently to the front. Yeah. So when we turn our work, so it looks similarly on the back. If you work up a few more rows, you would see the difference. So you can see now these side V's are becoming more prominent, whereas here they get, just the loop gets pushed out to the front. So it does create a ribbing effect. If I turn it this way, see these V's become much more prominent right there. So there you have it, the half double crochet slip stitch. Remember, let us know what you're going to do with this stitch. And if you are watching our Home Sweet Home series for this year, you will see this stitch come back up again. So stay tuned for that. So that's it for this week. It was short and sweet, and hopefully it's giving you a little bit of inspiration on some of the projects you're going to make. And as always, if you have any questions, you can also leave that for me in the comment box down below. And by the way, if you're new here and you enjoyed this crochet tutorial, I invite you to check out more of the tutorials on the channel. We've got tons of projects, other crochet series and crochet alongs. So make sure to click that subscribe button and make sure to click the notification bell so you'll be updated every time a new video goes live. I upload a brand new tutorial every Wednesday morning. And don't forget, come say hi to me. I'm on Instagram and Facebook at The Stitch Sessions. And I also invite you to check out the website at crochetcrafty.com. There's a lot of fantastic crochet tools there for you, sizing charts, free written patterns, a link to my Etsy shop, all kinds of cool things. And if you want to get in touch with me directly, you can email me there and just email me at info@crochetcrafty.com. All right, that's it for us today. I look forward to seeing you all next week. In the meantime, happy crocheting and take good care of yourselves, and I will see you in next week's session. Bye-bye. Isn't this just such a pretty stitch? I mean, look at how beautiful and rich this texture is. It's just fantastic. So this is it in the bulky yarn again, and this is the lightweight yarn.